the sake of the music industry, the aviation industry, the hospitality sector, and for all the people around Ireland that depend on you, I do hope your favourite song is not like your leader, Eamon Ryan, Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen. I would hope that yours is Seeing the Light by Simple Minds, or Let's Fly Away by Billy May. So, the impact of COVID-19 on Ireland's tourism industry and throughout the world has been catastrophic. We are very dependent on the international visitor. The aviation industry is key, as hospitality is dependent on connectivity. Hospitality is our biggest regional employer. The hospitality industry showed unbelievable resilience during the pandemic. They embraced what they could do, and they do as opposed to what they couldn't do. They set up takeaway services in outdoor areas, and they certainly have my admiration for what they have achieved. And in Limerick, I was delighted to see that the hotels in Limerick, especially the Woodlands House Hotel, got an international award for their outside dining and for their vision for the area. And I was so proud to see that. The VAT needs to remain at 9% and guaranteed certainty around this for the hospitality sector. I've asked several times to appoint a dedicated Minister for Tourism who will track, liaise and support this very valuable industry through motivation and proven targets. Stimulus to kick the hospitality needs to start with you, Minister. The wage subsidy scheme for tourism needs to be continued at least into next summer. The reason why it needs to continue into next summer, we can see what the hotel industry and different industries have suffered through the pandemic. Yes, they had a fairly good year from the summertime this year, but what losses they have incurred and what they need to reboot their businesses, it is very important that that stays. I welcome the newly appointed chairperson of Shannon Airport and the Shannon Group, Paul Creeda. I wish him well in the challenges ahead, and there are so many prior to this pandemic. I actually met Padraig last night and we had a half-an-hour discussion here in Leinster House. It was my first time meeting him. And one of the first questions I asked him was, what is your background? And his background is absolutely exceptional. And we went through different areas of his background. But the one thing that stood out to me is the education the man has, the way he can portray himself, and the vision that he portrayed to me last night was unbelievable. And also that he was a self-employed person himself, which to me is what is lacking on our cabinet table, where we need the mix. I also met with Mary Considine in Shannon, the CEO, and Limerick Chamber of Commerce, to talk about the common sense and the vision that we have for Limerick, Shannon and the surrounding areas, so it can contribute to our areas. 143,000 people worked in the aviation industry. 270,000 people were employed in tourism. 50,000 people were employed in the Midwest. Shannon Airport now needs an airline stimulus package to encourage and rebuild of air traffic. I also want Shannon Airport needs to be included in the regional airport programme, that is the state aid for airports under 3 million passengers. Minister, I have said this 12 months ago and I've said it every time we talk about aviation. The only way that aviation can prosper in this country is dispersion of traffic. I've heard other deputies talk here today about what has happened in Dublin. But if you look at it in statistic-wise, Dublin will have projected 15 million passengers through its gates this year. Shannon is somewhere in the region of 350,000, which is 19% of their traffic that went through pre-19. And Cork are somewhere in the region of about 35%, which is about 850 passengers. I've asked for, if Dublin Airport, and again, I welcome any airport that expands, But what I want brought into any airport that expands, like Dublin Airport, that there has to be dispersion of traffic. That if they want to expand their passengers by 3 million, they've got to give 10% of that to the other regional airports. That means that we then can see the likes of Shannon Airport go back to where it was in 1.8 million pre-COVID, that we can actually build that up to 3 million and more, which has plenty capacity to do. And also for the likes of Cork Airport, for them. The other thing I must say to you, Minister, is I'm living in a parish called Grana. I'm 5 minutes off the main road. I'm 10 miles from the Cork border, and it takes me 1 hour and 45 minutes if I had to go to Cork Airport. If I've got to go to Shannon Airport, it takes me somewhere between 38 and 40 minutes, depends if I get caught coming onto the N20 at Anahead Cross. But I can do Dublin Airport in 2 hours 10. What does that mean? The proper road infrastructure is there. There is farmers and industry have been held to ransom for the last 19 years, and they cannot build for their future as there was a proposed road going through their lands, the NM20. 19 years, I was talking to one farmer, he said that he doesn't know because the road is going right next to his farmhouse, and he doesn't know where he can build for the future of his children. We need funding, we need connectivity for the future-proofing, not only for Shannon Airport and Cork Airport, but also Dublin Airport. We need connectivity, but we also need balance, that we all get a piece of the pie, and that way the likes of Shannon Airport will not be subsidised. They will be over 3 million passengers, and they will be well able to subsidise themselves. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much. Now